Only person that I know that can set up a whole workshop inside half of a Miata is you.
It's a pretty good work size area.
We got our own metal shop in here and everything. Look at this.
Hi guys, welcome to GearHeads.
So today on GearHeads, we're going to show you how to drill and tap a hole for a new bolt. As we were installing my old shifter, we found that the old bolt hole was cross-threaded, so we're going to show you how to drill a slightly larger hole, tap it, and insert a new bolt for it.
Yeah, so this is just a quick repair from our last episode where we're installing the shifter. So let's go ahead and get started and finally finish putting that stupid shifter in. Woo! So installing the old shifter, we found out that one of the screws would not thread in all the way because the original one had been installed improperly and cross-threaded. So when we went to install this, it would not go in. So these two are fine, but this one over here, I don't know if you can see on the video, it's probably not going to focus very well, but there is like no threads left in there. It's stripped pretty much clean. So what we're going to do is fill that hole with some paper towels first. So go ahead and stuff that down there. Just keep in mind, you might be doing this on a different part of a car, you might not even be doing this on a car, but you don't want to get metal shavings anywhere undesirable, which in this case would be in the shifter turret in there. So we just filled that up. Now we're going to go ahead and get a drill bit that's going to be matched to the new tap. So let's get that stuff and show them. The old bolt that used to go in here, I believe, was an M5, which is a metric size. I don't remember what the thread pitch was, but it doesn't really matter because we're replacing it. So I got a slightly larger bolt. So let's compare them here. The one on the right is one of the original ones that used to go in there, and the one on the left is the new one. As you can see, it is slightly bigger. So the idea is we have a tap here, which we will use once we've drilled that hole out to put new threads into that hole. So let's see, what size are we going to use, Matt? You're looking at drill bits over here?
Yeah.
The idea is, if you can, there is stuff you can check out online that'll give you a really good, it'll tell you according to your bolt size that you're trying to put in exactly what drill bit to use, or if you want to be like us, if you really want to be like us, yeah. Well, not really guess. You can go ahead and put it up right next to it, and you're basically, the idea is just to get a drill bit that is just slightly thinner than the threads you're going to tap in. So I did want to mention this for anybody out there that is not as lucky as us, and I have been in the same situation many times where maybe you broke a bolt off in a hole like this or something, or you have to drill a hole into fresh metal that does not already have a hole like this to just pile it in for you. And this makes it very easy for us because all we have to do is drill through the hole that's already there, make it wider, and add new threads. Now, if you're trying to do this on something with bare metal, go ahead and get a, let me see. You're going to need a hammer and a punch. So you need to mark the exact spot the hole needs to be, hit the, or set the punch right on it, hit it with a hammer, and that gives you a nice little mark in the metal so that you can go ahead and get a drill bit started properly. And a lot of times it's a good idea to start with a smaller drill bit as a pilot hole, and then go to the full-size drill bit you're going to use that you actually want. And if you have a situation where a bolt is broken off in there and you cannot get it out, the best advice I can give you is to look into some easy outs and stuff like that. That's not exactly what this video is going to about. Maybe we'll have something on that in the future. But for now, this should show you at least how to tap new threads. This works also if you're into turboing your car like we do in our Miatas. This is a similar process you can do if you want to tap your oil pan to put an oil return line down there or something like that. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with this, Matt. You got the drill ready?
Yep.
One more thing before you start drilling, if you know the desired depth and like how far deep you want the drill to go ahead and take some measurements whatever way you need to. On this one, we just measured the spacer on the shifter and how far these stock bolts go past it and how much we need to grab, or how much threading we're actually going to need in here. So what we did is we took that measurement, I came up to the drill bit and I just put some tape on the end so I know when the bit gets down to the tape right here, that's as deep as we need to go and we can stop. So go ahead and widen that hole. That went pretty easy, huh? We just needed to widen it. Cool. All right, well, let's go ahead and get the tap and see if we can get some new threads started.
Cool.
All right, so Matt, where'd you get this tap and die set?
I actually just got this at my local auto store. I got it at O'Reilly's, and it was $25, and I got something like 48 pieces. So I can definitely mess up a bunch of times for $25 and be okay with that.
Cool. Well, all right, and it came with the tool here, so we've got our tap started here. Now, hopefully this isn't too wide. Is it gonna hit? Uh-oh. Yeah, it's kind of hitting. You're just, I don't know, dude. We'll figure it out. It's a little too wide on that handle. It's gonna hit. All right, so what I have to show you is the redneck tap tool. So let's see. I went ahead and took a socket here, and
what size socket?
This one was a 7.32 inch, and it was a 12-sided socket. The tools that we have that fit onto this tap right here are too big, and it'll end up getting stuck under here. Even if we pulled the plastic pieces up here, it gets stuck up here. We can't use that to tap it. So instead, this is a way I've tried many times. Depending on the size of the back of the tap, you might be able to just fit a socket around it perfectly, which I've done before. This was the closest I could get, so I actually had to kind of sit there and hammer this one on. So I'm kind of sacrificing this socket to make it work, but luckily it's a socket that I've never even used. So like I said, this isn't necessarily the best way, it's the redneck way, but it does work. So now I've got it on a handy tool right here, and just make sure you're holding it straight up and down and putting some pressure on it. Just take your time and be patient, because if you try and go quickly, you might mess it up, especially when you're first getting it started. It's not very easy. Just have some patience and it will work. Once you have it started a ways, then you can go ahead and be a little easier with it. You just have to make sure it stays very steady when you're getting started, so you don't mess the threads up as you're trying to put them in. A lot of times when you're doing this, it's not a bad idea to go in a couple turns, and once you have your threads actually started solidly, pull it back out, clean all the shavings off, and do it again. But honestly, it's not as big of a deal in this kind of application. If you're tapping something like an oil pan though, that's important. Also, if you're ever doing this in an area where you're really worried about shavings getting somewhere, whether like, for example, if you're doing an oil pan, you don't want shavings falling through the other side, or even if you're just working somewhere you don't want shavings to get everywhere, go ahead and throw some grease on your tap, and it should hold most of the shavings. You might get a couple little things that get by, but almost all the shavings will stick to it if you do that, because there's these nice little grooves in between the threads. There's a little space right there, and then there's those threads, and there's more right there, and usually if you grease it, it'll all just gather in those spots. You just have to make sure that you go, when you get started, go in a few turns, back it up, clean off or just wipe the grease, and then do it again. You get the idea. All right, you ready to try it out?
Moment of truth?
Moment of truth. You left the washer on there.
Look at that.
Is it going in?
Yeah.
Good. Perfect. Here's the other moment of truth. Give it a tug. Oh yeah, that's not even loose or anything at all. That's solid. Awesome, dude. All right, well, let's go ahead and take that out. Make sure we wipe away any shavings in there, and let's put the shifter back in the car. All right, so after we posted up our last video, Matt and I thought that this thing was just bent in like shipping or, bad packaging, but we both found out that this is actually supposed to be this way. I didn't know this, but apparently this actually acts as a spring, and we were having a problem with the shifter here with having a little bit of motion up and down, and this should fix that. So let's go ahead and put that in, and then there's these little tabs that go in. There's a little slot right there, and then there's two more on, and get that one started. And now supposedly if we put the shifter back together the rest of the way, so go ahead and just slip the thing back over. Oh hey, we got to do something else.
What?
Are these holes bigger than they need to be? I doubt it. We got to drill that out real fast. All right, did you tap them well enough so it doesn't pull the threads out?
I hope so.
Tightening it down. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's tight.
Tightened right up. The lock washer and everything. All right, dude.
Real quick.
Cool. Make sure those are snug. And then, according to our comment section, that piece should help with the shifter play. Holy crap, it did.
It worked.
That fixed it. All right. That seems to have alleviated the problem for the most part. It still moves a little bit, but very much less.
Definitely not the same.
All right. Try it. I think you'll be happy with it now. All right. Let's put the rest of the car back together, Junior.
Wow, dude, I'm stoked. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. As you guys saw, drilling and tapping that hole wasn't really that bad. Really wasn't that hard. And the result of it was really awesome. My shifter fits in nice and snug. It's tightened down really, really well, and I'm super satisfied with it.
Yeah, and thank you to the commenters who came and went out of their way to tell us that that thing that we thought was just a damaged part was actually a spring washer, because that actually tightened up the shifter all the way. So it actually works really good now, and I don't know, are you happy with it now for $60?
Yeah, I'm stoked. I don't know if I would still pay $60, but
I mean, it still was pretty close to the eBay shifter, but whatever. If you came here for how to drill and tap the threads, you probably don't care or know about any of that, but we do a car channel here, and we're doing mostly Miata stuff. So if you enjoyed the video, feel free to check out all of our other stuff.
Alright guys, and if you're discovering our channel for the first time, make sure you subscribe, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment. We'll answer them like as quickly as we can, and
yeah, hit the like button. Have a good one, guys. Don't forget, keep wrenching.